wageni watatu Mheshimiwa Sebastian Kapufi mbunge, ambao ni wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani. Wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani, karibuni sana.
Container packed with supplies that need to make their way to families in Africa, like yesterday. You said this is a 53-foot trailer? This trailer is packed with medical supplies destined to the motherland. We need to help get these out of here.
What were you taught about marriage? Did it have you properly prepared for the journey or desperately frustrated looking for the nearest escape? I'm Shar, founder of Law for Love, the most special place in the legal system in Atlanta. And after navigating families through the court system for more than 13 years, we are now taking those lessons learned to serve and support families to build healthier, happier, more purposeful marriages. Join us live on YouTube at Law for Love ATL Monday nights for our family meetings. Yes, grown folk discussions.
Shalom, Salama, Diyemi, Shalawam. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile grafted into the house. I welcome you this morning. This is going to be a really quick show. Sorry, I won't be able to go any longer in the day with this. There's a lot of meat to cover. As folks have seen what's happened in the last 24 hours. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the really the Israeli Houthi now conflict. That's their southern conflict. What that means. Wow, that's significant. And we'll talk about white supremacy's battles on these social media platforms. And what it means to have the electronic warfare. So, needless to say, I had to run some errands this morning, and I had a comedy of errors coming through with certain things. So now I'm in the midst of a trial. Of just a trial. I'll just go from there. I have to rely on other things to get me around. So part of trying to take care of things on this weekend, it didn't happen because still dealing with the crowd incident. And started CrowdStrike incident, but um, doing some banking, and that particular form of banking can only be done online because it had something to do with the business account. So that was great. That was great. But one of the things that I recognized from the whole ordeal was that we do rely a lot on the internet. We rely a lot on the infrastructure, especially on the electronic and technological infrastructure. I can say that I do. And, that's just the effect of it. So, because of the situation I was in this week, right now, I tried to get that taken care of even on Saturday. And the bank that I went to, they said they still were not even able to operate. So that's interesting. So this morning I have to go to the bank, try and get that done because of what I'm limited in doing. And, this is why you have a very, very quick episode, live discussions stream. Shalom, Sister Shar.
Shalom, Brother Karis. Shalom, family.
So, yeah, so bear with me, family. I didn't even think I was going to come on today, just to take some time. But, I wanted to cover just a couple things with the the new presidential, supposedly presidential um, candidate, nominee, Democratic nominee candidate. I don't know. The whole thing to me, I mean, you see it coming, but I just had to ask questions. And these are the obvious questions. Why wait that long? What was the point of that? Everyone could see it coming. And if that was the case, why didn't you go through the normal routine? And all I see that is it was a setup. States couldn't even caucus. You can't elect. But I want folks to understand that when you're living in a banana republic, your vote really doesn't matter. And I would honestly go so far as to argue that as you start to see things intensify, I believe they'll have a quote unquote election, but I honestly believe that they'll try to pause the succession of government. That's just in my opinion. What say you, Sister Shaw?
Um, None of it makes any sense. And I mean, I don't know. Perhaps the objective is confusion. We know we're going into chaos. We know this. We've known this long before the election cycle began. We were expecting chaos, and so this is consistent with the chaos that I would expect. Just a complete controlled demolition of the public trust, of the public confidence. I mean, even yesterday, when when my son mentioned to me, "Hey, mom, did you hear? Biden stepped down, and the forerunner is Kamala." I couldn't even help but pucker my whole face like I just ate a lemon. Like, ew. I'm not like, ugh, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to me, it's a continuation of this progressive chaos, confusion, and nonsense. Like this place, it's a sideshow.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It is. And, it's only going to get worse because as that was happening on the Friday, you had a lot of things going on still, just with silliness. But on Friday, I don't think a lot of people understood what was going on. I think we touched on that very, very late in the broadcast. The ICJ had come out with the ruling regarding the stopping of the building of settlements, really so short. I said they actually did. They condemned what was going on in Gaza. I saw that, and they condemned the land grab operation, which is what it was. So, Sister Shar, in terms of this is the legal question, the legal frame. It's kind of like some sort of an order. It's an open order, and if you are a competent, or you don't even have to be competent, some things that have been done have been just suggestions. If you didn't know, a lot of what we have going on in these quote unquote legal precedents and things of that nature, it's very ambiguous. Or yeah, the ambiguity is just it's it's amazing to see. And so I would argue that on the basis of kind of the ambiguity, and honestly, getting away with it is the might is right. What do you see happening in terms of nations trying to then um, provide extrajudicial punishment or try to impose a world court ruling or decree?
I don't have a legal analysis as much as I have. Um, I'm looking at this in terms of the timing when you couple it with the um, decomposition of American power. To me, it's not happenstance. This order comes out 2 days before Biden steps down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're watching these two nations who have represented hand in hand the military might and the financial and thought leadership of the world.
Mm.
And they're both going down together.
Mm.
It's the timing of it that I'm more intrigued by the timing of this than I am the actual legalities, because what I'm seeing is a what is the word? It's almost like it's a first of all, it's a decoupling of power
Mm-hmm.
that these two together represent. And then it's like they're being humbled or demoted on the world stage together. So the legalities of it to me are just a formality of saying, hey, delegitimizing was the word I was looking for. Delegitimizing the just raw, unchecked power of these two nations
Mm-hmm.
and putting them in their place now that they have accomplished their part of the global restructuring, the order of things that had to happen. Their job is done.
Yeah, yeah, and you could tell it's like when the Eastern Mediterranean nation, the head of that, the prime minister, is now trying to come to the United States to get, you know, a pat on the back, a standing ovation, all this other stuff. I don't know if that's going to actually happen. I don't know if that's going to happen on the side of the Dems, at least. I'm sure the Republicans, yeah, they're definitely going to be given a standing ovation. And honestly, to me, when that happens, that is going to look terrible, because why would you applaud someone who has literally had a ruling that went against that person's favor regarding genocidal actions? Why? That's crazy. And when that happens, that's going to happen this week. I said this last week, and I've been saying this honestly and confidence with some of the folks. I said this is the most dangerous time on out there. It's the most dangerous. And shout out to Red. I had him on here on Friday, and we were discussing the quote unquote, mishap of the security update. Okay. I'm going to tell you this. Excuse me. With my cybersecurity skills, I'm not the best, but I know enough. I know enough to see a security incident, a cybersecurity incident, a major, massive cybersecurity incident. And that was not the result of just a patch. However they want to classify it, it's how they want to classify it. Now, remember, they can classify whatever they want. It's an official classification, I think, like after 60 or 90 days. But after 60 or 90 days, who cares? This is the ADHD society. Nobody's going to remember anything that's happened in 60 or 90 days. And to be fair, I really don't know everything that's happened in these last 60, 90 days because of how crazy everything has been. This year has just been, excuse me, a roller coaster of calamity. Go ahead, Sister Shaw.
What about the call out for the United Nations with respect to its findings concerning, right? Remember, we talked about human rights being the new constitution of the world. So that's the framework. The constitution of the new world order is human rights. The court finds all of these human right violations. We expected that. Well, everyone knew that. Now, like, this all seemed like a kangaroo court, like, okay, yeah, duh. So what are you going to do about it? Right? But the call out for the United Nations was strongly worded by the court in suggesting that United Nations failed to carry out its duty. So what I would expect, if what this really is a delegitimization of power of this nation state, to see some mobilization of the United Nations to stabilize it. Is that what they call it when they go up in there?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's stabilization operations. And what is it? Peacekeeping operations.
I'm seeing this ruling empowering the UN to mobilize.
Exactly. And who will be left out of that mobilization? The United States. They cannot be trusted with making a sound decision to do what? To ensure that the human rights of folks affected can be done. They can't accomplish the mission. It's amazing the times that we're living in. Would you have ever thought that, Sister Shar, 2 years ago?
This place, man, look, 2 years ago, I'm always looking for how our 400-year sentence is being how we did our time and how we're going back home. Look, I've been expecting us to go home. I just never I never imagined how things would begin looking in terms of the actual system that we're in, and it's literally crumbling.
around us. And I guess for me, it's like, okay, we can expect that these people are not just going to, they're not just going to gladly send us off altruistically and happy for us, right?
No.
So my question is always, okay, what's going to be the next move of foolishness to try and keep us here, to try to make things harder for us, to try to make us, I don't know. Yeah, I'm always expecting the next foolish move because everything that we're witnessing is tomfoolery.
Yes.
It's just, I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, this whole resignation situation, why did y'all have him for running in the first place?
You all saw he was lost.
Yes.
And he's going to do the remainder of his presidency. Like, he can't do the remainder of his presidency. Today, he's going to have to get Article 25.
Yeah.
The 25th Amendment.
Why did y'all do that? Cat Williams already called him out, 2.5 years ago that he was weekend at Bernie's? Why did y'all put this man back up there?
My question is, how are they able to animate a dead body? That's what I want to find out. Dang.
That's a demon.
They got a golem on up there.
Look, they were telling us about the Wizard of Oz, man. They ain't know why. Was this the play all along, or did they realize, man, we're not gonna be able to get him to? Because my thinking always had been, okay, they expect him to die after November, or they just gonna make sure they don't keep juicing him up after he gets sworn in January. They're just gonna go ahead and let him. They're going to let him die his natural death because they've been like artificially keeping him alive, right? This is my thinking. This is just me.
I think that was a power in football. I think that was a power I formation. In football, that was a power I. So you had the running back that came through into the main hole, right? Republicans took the bait on the main hole, and then you had the tailback, swiftly coming through and cutting through, trying to, go through that hole, go through that scrum, that chaos. And that to me is kind of, look, we dangled Biden, they dangled Biden out for the bait on that play action. On that play action, but the ball was always going to be passed to Kamala.
It seemed like that was always the play. It was always the play because she's not going to get a popular vote.
Exactly.
So the most successful way, because what does she represent? Female, person of color, right? So that the United States can somehow redeem itself in the eyes of its failing soft power and say, hey, we've turned over a new leaf.
Mm-hmm.
We have a woman of color in the highest office of the land. Mm-hmm. And somehow through her try to redeem itself from its tomfoolery.
Exactly.
So it seemed like that was always the play, but now she's left to have to I don't know what these people are doing. I don't know if people are going to show up to vote.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think people are going to show up. If they do show up, she's not going to win. I'm sorry. She's not going to win. I know folks are going to be like, oh, she's going to win. The only thing is that, look, for Black folks, and I was watching this, I was in this group with a pretty popular organization. They were, singing the praises of Kamala, and I'm like, remember what Kamala said? Is she just going to do something specific for Black folks? No, remember that? And I'm like, So you want to do what? Vote her in so she's not going to do anything for us? I'm like, that's smart thinking.
Well, wasn't she being staged as the champion for Black rights during the Democratic, the whole Democratic debates where she attacked Biden? Like
Exactly.
it was fascinating that after she went in on Biden for his racist policies, and she squeezed out her tears as as the Black female that had been disenfranchised by what he represents, that he would make her his running mate. So you could kind of see the setup the whole time.
And they got rid of affirmative action and all these and basically any type of really safeguard or program that actually could give Black folks, specifically Black folks, jobs here in America. Pharaoh cut off the job system for
Yeah.
Black folks in America. Pharaoh, and I want to tell you this, what that's going to represent, that is the final form of Babylon. You see her in her true glory. Final form of Babylon. So I don't know how folks want to reconcile. I know that there's been debates over, prophets and prophetesses and all the likes. But to me, what happens, man, woe to a nation whose women are women and children.
Look.
Whoa.
she doesn't
Whoa. Go ahead, Sister Shaw.
she doesn't represent Black people. Like, look, this is what I was saying about Obama. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't a descendant of slaves, y'all.
No, he wasn't. That was the trick bag.
Yeah,
Yep.
the skin doctrine of politics. Black folks, overwhelmingly, we fell for that hook, line, and sinker.
Mm-hmm.
You look like us, you're us. No, no. All skin folk is not kinfolk. And we, our loyalty, our agreement, and our consent, they're always courting because of the power that we have.
Yes.
Just because of Yah's grace upon us.
Mm-hmm.
They depend on our consent, and then they keep tricking us out of it by putting some black skin in front of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to act like we're participating in the system. You realize that the 2020 election, it was actually an historically low turnout of support by African Americans, and now they're already projecting that this one's going to be an even lower one. They know it. They know that we're not voting, we're not participating, we're not consenting.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Since Asians have figured out how to get Afro hair,
That don't count. That don't count. It's a spiritual. Yeah, it's funny, but it is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual consent. And now it's like this. Everything had to be seen in its final form. And it's going to start looking real, real ugly around here. It is. Let me go ahead. I'm going to start to close this on up because I do have to run, family, with things. But Sister Shar, one of the things, we were in a meeting with the organization. They had a webinar. They had their Zoom open, and it got hacked. It got hacked by a white supremacist, and they Zoom bombed with pornographic images and the N word. And as I was talking to Mike this morning, Mike was saying, hey, sometimes folks were complaining that trying to get into our website, and this was last year. So this is last year. And because I remember when we were having some things with Quest Unite Africa on that end, that people were being redirected. And so I had to laugh because I'm like, that is the new white supremacy tactic of attacking in this digital space, right? Through, these types of manners. And so I would say for Sister Shar, what do you suspect in terms of the perceived lack of control? What do you suspect?
Well, what was happening in that meeting was a power intergenerational governmental discussion. Whenever you have our folks getting together, even right here in Covenant Awakenings, this is a town hall. This is for us, by us. This is us governing ourselves. This is us taking care of ourselves. So whenever you see us moving like this, and in that gathering in particular, it was international and it was multi-generational. It was very, very intentional. It was dangerous for us to gather that way. They had to send in foolishness. We have to expect distractions. We have to expect that anything that they can throw at us, they will throw at us to hinder us, to wear us down, to frustrate and discourage us so that we'll just fold. They want us to fold. And their perceived loss of power means that they cast off restraints. Like there is no playing fair when you need to stop those pesky Hebrews. Because even in this governmental gathering, we're not all coming from the same awakened paradigm, but at the same time, we're all moving in an awakening. It's fascinating. Not everybody who's coming together is necessarily coming from the same prophetic paradigm that we're gathered here in Covenant Awakenings and in our other communities, related communities. We're all coming from a prophetic paradigm. But when what I'm witnessing amongst our people is that we're all moving towards self-governance, and that makes us the pesky Hebrews of Psalms 83. So they're not going to play fair. They're going to foul us. Even yesterday, I went to my baby's little basketball game. My niece was in Atlanta. And when they realized that she was hot, when homegirl was posting up and making shots, that's when the fouls began. And the rep wasn't even calling all those fouls. They were pushing my baby around on that court. Why? Because we got to stop her. She's a problem. That's what we are to expect as the perceived power is crumbling right before our eyes. They're going to start fouling. They're going to start getting more aggressive. They're going to start taking jabs wherever they can, because you pesky Hebrews have to be slowed down, stopped, and forbidden. The good news is that we know the Most High is not having that. That's not the way our story ends. Mm-hmm. You might frustrate us. You might wear us down. We might be tired, but you will not stop the Most High's plan for his people.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was there's a interesting dynamics. I saw it the comment here. Yeah, we had spoken about Celeste on this channel a couple months ago. I know we were talking, Sister Shar and I were talking about the prophecies that she had made. I said this. I said, look, I don't know. I told that to Sister Shar. I said, I don't know. I said, if it comes to pass, hallelujah. If it doesn't come to pass, hallelujah. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and see how this thing works itself on out. But I knew that the audience, it wasn't really Hebrew specific. And I think that's what a lot of our people get mad at. Oh, you need to be talking to the Hebrews and the Hebrews only, and that's it. And that, no, that's not how the Most High works. I talk to our Hebrew brothers and sisters. There are some Gentiles that's in here. Okay, that's great. But Gentiles aren't my audience. Now, when she was making those declarations, I saw who her audience was. She was talking to the Gentiles. And so, hey, I mean, she's getting more heat from Gentiles. So,
but what about the Civil War aspect of what she represents and who she's talking to? Because remember now, part of my awakening and healing, I was instructed to serve in a prayer team. I did a 2-year tour of duty in a Make America Great Again prayer team. And I'm going to tell you what I've learned about our evangelical folks. They are a fiery, determined, and violent persuasion. So if you have her waving this black woman that's going to take all of your red, white, and blue away from you,
mm-hmm.
and it's this particular group of people, they're not going to wave the white flag. That's not the spirit that they move in.
No. Now, when they said that, in terms of freedoms being taken away, yeah, I see that. But why is their freedoms taken away? Because this place is going to start getting chaotic. Why? Martial law. Why?
The freedoms were already legislated away. And I think to me, that's the most hilarious part. Mm-hmm. They're already legislated away.
Yep.
What we're living in is an appearance of freedom. The laws have already been passed years before the execution.
Years ago.
They've already done it. Under Obama's administration, they passed a statute that allows that all of these different sectors of the government, agriculture, transportation, they all become, I can't think of the word, but what they are, they become like vice presidents of issues. Mm-hmm. And under these powers, so there's already been a delegation of power. The Secretary of Agriculture, the Secretary of Transportation, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, they all become authorized to act as the president for the purpose of allocating resources. Now, anytime this nation is under emergency powers, which it has been now for a very long time, we just don't realize it because we were born into it. All of the so-called freedoms that we have already been suspended.
It has. It has. She's absolutely right.
So that's why I'm like, I laugh at any conversation about taking your freedoms away, because we are living under the illusion of constitutional protection. How long has this country been in war without declaring war? Anytime we're in war, we are under a state of emergency. They can pick and choose when your constitutional rights can be exercised. That's to me, that's the sickest joke. The appearance of freedom that has already been taken from you.
Well, that was the trick bag, as certain folks would say. But family, it's about that time. I got to get up on out of here. I told you it's going to be a quick discussion because of some things that I'm going through. Thank you, Sister Shar. Thank you, Sister Shar. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a walk that nobody wants to be doing at all.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Pray
No.
for your brother.
Yeah. We're praying for you, Brother Karis. And this is all going to work out. And the Most High will get his glory out of your life. Gold is tried by fire 7 times before it is pure enough for the king's service, for Yahuwah's service. And when we say yes, we're saying yes to that trial. We're saying yes to that burning. We're saying yes to that purification process, that all unrighteousness and wickedness that's in us be purged from us, burned out of us. And I hate it. I hate it with everything. And I hate to see my brothers and sisters going through it. But our hope rests in the place of glory that our Father receives. And not only that, but when you look at the Beatitudes are actually Yah's economy. He's saying those things you suffer, what I pay back, what I give you back in return for what you go through is exponentially greater than what you suffer. So just take hope in that there is a reward for you greater than your suffering, because y'all don't play us cheap.
All right. Thank you, Sister Shar, for those kind words of encouragement. All right. All right. Yeah, so family, I didn't even think I was gonna go live today. I gotta get some errands run with my situation that I'm in, newfound situation. Yeah, just keep me up in prayers, whatever doesn't delete you just makes you stronger. So that's for real. I'm in that season. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, most high willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and I should go on for a little bit longer than this. Get back to our regularly scheduled programming. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.